On the eve of our wedding, Noah put his arm around his childhood sweetheart and asked me for a night of freedom. He said after tonight, he would be faithful to our marriage until death. I looked at him for a long time and nodded. As he walked past me, he said grandly, "Tonight you can go out and find a man, I promise I won't mind at all." No need to go out. I walked silently towards his very best friend. Gazing intently into those beautiful eyes, I asked, "Want to sleep together tonight?" He had a childhood sweetheart, but didn't I have a first love? The private room was packed with people, his closest friends and my bridesmaids. After several rounds of drinks, everyone was a little tipsy. Noah suddenly put his arm around Lily, his childhood sweetheart he'd grown up with. He said, "Lily, look, childhood sweethearts really can't beat an unexpected arrival. Didn't Sophia, this unexpected arrival, swoop in and claimed me? I'm marrying someone else tomorrow. Don't you feel a little bit of regret?" A bitter sorrow instantly clouded Lily's face, as if tears might fall at any second. "What good is regret? It's your fault you fell for her later." Noah looked at Lily's tear-filled eyes in his arms, his expression full of tenderness. "How about we make up for that regret tonight?" Lily looked up. "How?" Then slowly turned his gaze to me. "Sophia," he called out loudly, "tomorrow we'll be husband and wife. I promise I'll be faithful to our marriage until death, and I'll never betray you. But tonight, the last night before our wedding, how about we do something exciting and give each other a night of freedom?" A chorus of cheers and shouts erupted in the private room. Then a dead silence fell due to my icy expression. Noah's true intentions were blatantly obvious. He wanted to spend a wild, joyful night with the childhood sweetheart he'd been flirting with throughout his youth. He wanted to make up for the regret of loving but never having been intimate with her. He was sure I wouldn't flat out refuse him, and that afterwards, a little coaxing from him would make me forget the whole incident. His confidence was simple. Although he had ardently pursued me, purely in terms of family background, I was marrying far above my station. He thought I was not only captivated by him, but also absolutely couldn't bear to let go of his elite family. After all, for a daughter of working-class parents like me, marrying into an elite family was incredibly difficult. Meeting him was truly fortunate. He was right in his assumption. I had deeply experienced what it was like for a commoner girl to be noticed by an heir to a powerful family, only to face opposition from that elite family. But that wasn't with him. My girlfriends beside me tugged at my sleeve. "Sophia, don't be foolish, don't agree." I looked at Noah for a long time, seeing the stubbornness and certainty in his eyes. Finally, I nodded, my voice calm. "Okay, I agree." Oh. Laughter and applause broke out. The silent atmosphere in the private room instantly dissipated. "Sophia, you're so generous. Truly a woman worthy of marrying into the Dawson family's household. No wonder Noah knelt for 3 days and nights in his father's study just to marry you. A woman who can enter our family must have this kind of grace." Noah's slightly tight lips relaxed into a smile, and he pulled the obedient childhood sweetheart in his arms even closer. He stood up, still holding her. "All right, it's getting late tonight. I have a wedding to hold tomorrow. I can't stay up all night going wild with you all. Lily and I are heading out. Order whatever drinks you want and have fun. All expenses tonight are on my tab." Whoa. Our little Lily is going to suffer tonight. Another round of catcalls and cheers filled the private room. As he walked past me, he lowered his gaze and said generously to me, "For the sake of fairness, Sophia, if you want, you can also go out and find a man tonight. I promise. I absolutely won't mind." He must have been banking on my conservative and self-respecting nature, knowing I couldn't be so open-minded, which is why he said something like that. I looked back at him. "Really?" He raised an eyebrow. "Of course. A gentleman's word is his bond, and you know I always keep my promises. Just like I said I'd marry you, and I did." His tone was proud, as if marrying me was a great favor he was bestowing. So I should be sensible and magnanimous about him and Lily tonight. I withdrew my gaze and looked into the corner of the private room, at the man who had been stone-faced and silent all evening. No need to look outside, actually. What? Ignoring's expression, I got up and silently walked to the man's feet. I knelt down, lowering myself, my eyes overflowing with emotion as I looked up to meet his gaze. I carefully invited, "Want to sleep together tonight?" The stone-faced man leaned back against the leather sofa, looking down at me. It felt as though he might kick me away in disgust at any second. Suddenly, a chuckle came from behind me. It was Noah. "Sophia, of all people, why him? He was badly hurt by his first love years ago and became a woman-hater. He hasn't been near a woman in years." Woman-hater. I savored the words in my mind. Was it true? My emotions surged. and I stared at him without blinking. I looked at the face that had haunted my dreams and kept me awake countless nights. Since we met again, if it weren't for the alcohol tonight, this was the first time I dared to meet his gaze directly. My fingernails dug into my palms. I wasn't even sure how he felt about me now, until the cold tip of a leather shoe pressed against my chin. The man's chin lifted higher, his face becoming even colder. He was intimidating, and his voice, tinged with anger, asked me, "Are you sure?" I didn't want to back down, so I bravely pushed my chin further onto his shoe. "I'm sure." He abruptly stood up from the sofa. Everyone probably thought I had completely enraged him. They expected him to toss me away ruthlessly the next second. After all, I'd heard that a young celebrity had tried to cozy up to him at a party recently. He'd found her in the way and simply waved his arm, pushing her into a pool. As she drowned and called for help, he didn't even spare her a glance, just strode away. Even was startled and lunged forward to me, spreading his arms to embrace him. Brother, she's my wife after all, don't get violent. She doesn't know your temper, please be patient with her offense. Sophia, get up quickly. Didn't I tell you before? This guy is absolutely not to be provoked. He's not interested in women. I know you're not interested in any man other than me, so don't try to act tough in front of me. Go back and rest with your girlfriends. I don't know what Noah said wrong, but the man pushed him back several feet with force. His eyes held a hidden sharpness. Who said I wasn't interested in women? At the same time, my vision swam, and he hoisted me onto his shoulder. His deep voice, laced with old grievances and resentment, entered my ear. Sophia, you came to me yourself this time. Just as we were about to walk out the door amidst everyone's surprise, Noah, seeing my back as I was carried on his best friend's shoulder, called after us, Julian, what do you mean? Right, his name. Julian. The man paused, tilted his head, and said in a cold tone, exactly what it sounds like. Noah's voice was clearly urgent. Are you serious? That's my wife. He'd been calling me wife all night. Was the word wife still a bit jarring? Julian turned back and gave Noah a deep look, as if disdaining to say another word to him. He turned and continued carrying me out the door. Noah seemed truly flustered and rushed to grab Julian's arm. Julian, we've grown up together like brothers. He looked at me, slung over Julian's shoulder. You don't betray a friend's trust with his woman, you understand? Julian, no intention of putting me down. After shaking off Noah's hand, he clapped him hard on the shoulder. This pushed Noah back onto Lily, who had also rushed to the door, pinning him against the wall perfectly, so they were almost kissing. The man's voice was chilling. Good, as long as you understand. A good night is hard to come by, so you should make the most of your own. I was already a bit dizzy from the alcohol. Now, hanging upside down on Julian's back, I felt even more disoriented. Wanting him to put me down, I gently called his name, Julian. But all I got was his cold response, don't call me that, are we that close? I bit back the rest of my sentence, about wanting him to put me down. Just dizzy, I could endure it. After all, I owed him. Not far away, Noah was still relentless, looking as if he was about to chase after us. Julian, if you mess around, I'm not through with you. He was stopped by other friends nearby. Noah, you know Julian's been full of anger ever since he returned home. Don't confront him. Remember that coastal project? Your bid was so low, but he didn't say a word because of your close friendship. He must have resented you for it a little. Everyone knows you care about Sophia. He's probably just trying to annoy you tonight. Maybe he'll just dump her downstairs. You know how many years he's been alone without a woman, don't you? Have you forgotten the nickname we privately gave him? The Wolf. He glares at everyone, stays away from women, and avoids any female. You were the one who started that nickname. Relax. He only cares about that spirited ex-girlfriend who abandoned him. He won't touch Sophia. Noah didn't chase after us, and Julian and I had gone far. Only before entering the elevator did I hear the sarcastic remarks of my two beautiful bridesmaids directed at Noah. Their words were dripping with passive aggression. Oh, can't handle it? A night of freedom, a gentleman's word is his bond, you can also go Finn. Man, I absolutely won't mind ours single and free tonight, you know, in the VIP parking area on the first floor. Julian did indeed toss me. He tossed me into the passenger seat of his personal car. The black Pagani sped off into the dark night. Inside a remarkably stylish villa. I didn't recognize it, nor had I ever been there. The moment we entered, he ripped off my coat, forcefully gripping the back of my neck. A kiss full of resentment and ferocity landed on my lips. I winced and pushed him away. Julian. My waist was then firmly pinned, pressing me against the wall, making it impossible to move an inch. His voice was harsh. Didn't you want to sleep with me? Why are you pulling away? I had no retort, only managed to beg, could you be a little gentler? In an instant, he threw me onto the bed. He had no intention of being gentle. I can't be gentle. Clothes flew to the floor, one by one. He was fiercely rough, without a trace of tenderness. Until he discovered I was still a virgin, he suddenly froze. That handsome face, which had been perpetually cold, ruthless, and filled with resentment and anger, finally softened a little. You never slept with Noah? After so many years apart, how could I explain my current situation to him? I bit my lip repeatedly and offered a perfunctory reply. I hadn't gotten around to it yet. A couple getting married tomorrow, and they hadn't slept together? In modern society, who would believe that? Who could even manage it? For me, of course, there was a reason. The reason was, strictly speaking, Noah and I had never actually dated. We had skipped that stage entirely, jumping straight to the end, marriage. Of course, this didn't stop him from genuinely wanting to marry me, nor me from genuinely wanting to build a good life with him, hand in hand, for the rest of our lives. But after tonight, everything would likely change. Julian's thick brows furrowed. He stared at me for a long time, surely finding it ink red. Ibble that Noah and I hadn't been intimate. Yet the fact was before his eyes, and he had to believe that I truly hadn't been with any other man. Those beautiful eyes gradually shed their icy coldness, then slowly, a touch of red began to appear. It was as if years of suppressed grievance and deep affection were finally willing to reveal a tiny corner to me. Finally, helpless and as if letting down his guard, he embraced me. He kissed the corner of my mouth, which he had cruelly bitten earlier. He turned over, holding me, and pressed my head into his shoulder. We were close, whispering. I heard his hot breath say, "Sophia, I'm still in love with you." After that, his kisses were lingering, passionate, and tender. Tears welled in my eyes. The chandelier on the ceiling swung relentlessly before me, blurring. It was past midnight when my phone suddenly vibrated constantly. The melodious ringtone seemed annoyingly loud at that moment, disturbing the man's focused attention. It was my phone. It was Noah. Who had time for him at a moment like this? I meant to swipe it away but accidentally, due to unsteady fingers, slid to answer. Immediately, Noah's clearly unstable voice came through. "Sophia, why aren't you home? Where did Julian dump you? We're not playing this stupid pre-wedding freedom game anymore." I thought about it, and it's so boring. And as just a loose woman, she can't even compare to a single strand of your hair. Where are you? I'll come pick you up and take you home. I regret it so much now, making such a stupid suggestion in the private room. I hadn't even opened my mouth when Julian took the phone directly. His voice was arrogant. Regret? Too late. She can't be picked up by you, because she's in my bed right now. What? Julian. Beep. Julian hung up the phone and threw it far away. Noah had provoked someone, but I was the one who suffered. He carried me from the head of the bed to the foot. He bit my ear, again. Minutes and seconds ticked by relentlessly. I yearned and yearned, but couldn't wish for a moment's respite. The night finally passed completely, and daylight broke through. Even the drawn curtains couldn't block out the bright glow. Today was the day of my wedding with Noah. At this hour, I should be rushing home to get ready, changing into my wedding gown, sitting at my vanity mirror, letting the makeup artist create a beautiful bridal look for me. Quietly, yet filled with anticipation, waiting for Noah to arrive with a long wedding motorcade to marry me. Julian knew all this, of course. This man, who had tirelessly worked all night without apparent fatigue, slowly had the harshness return to him as the light grew brighter. He refused to let me go. He wouldn't give up. Begging didn't work, pleading didn't work, sweet talk didn't work. He just used those beautiful, reddened eyes to interrogate me repeatedly. Don't marry him, promise me, promise me. Sophia, don't marry him, promise me. I really wanted to agree, if only he would pause for a moment and let me catch my breath. I couldn't even form coherent words right now. Not getting my answer for a long time, the man seemed desperate, suddenly losing his balance and collapsing onto me. He held me tightly, his voice laced with a hint of pleading. Sophia, don't marry him, please. It was so hard, but finally, a gap allowed me to respond. Okay, my voice was completely hoarse. He immediately propped himself up, looking at me intensely. You agreed? I nodded vigorously. If I didn't agree, would you really let me go marry your best friend? Besides, after seeing what a scoundrel Noah was, would I be a fool to still go and marry him? His sapple bobbed. His lips moved, as if weighing his words, before he finally blurted out, if I told you right now that I want you to get back together with me, would you be willing? My whole body ached, and I truly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I could only weakly punch his chest with my feeble fist. Julian, you've kept me up all night. I haven't had a minute of rest. And now you're asking me if I'm willing. His eyebrows suddenly smoothed out. So you're willing? I could only answer him with another forceful nod. A loud kiss landed on my lips. He pulled me up. Sophia, let's go somewhere. Where? You'll know when we get there. I shook my head and fell back onto the bed. No, another day. I'm too tired. I can't move an inch. His tone was firm. No, today, right now. It's okay if you can't move. I'll carry you, or piggyback you. As he spoke, he was already frantically helping me get dressed. I truly felt completely overwhelmed. I was so messy. We had been at it all night. Julian, my body, don't dress me like this. At least let me take a quick shower. He seemed very anxious. It's fine, no one else will know. We can shower when we get back. Just throw these clothes away and buy new ones. And so, a pair of bewildered and unrestrained lovers, each wrapped in a few scraps of clothing, brazenly headed out. Julian carried me out of the villa and into the passenger seat. He drove steadily, yet quickly. As we got in the car, I saw him check my handbag, not sure why. Less than 2 minutes after leaving the villa, he reminded me, Sophia, turn on your phone. Tell your family the wedding is cancelled, so they don't make a wasted trip to the venue. Oh, right. Only then did I realize I was almost too disoriented to think straight because of him. Ignoring countless texts and calls, I first contacted my parents. By the time I finished contacting my relatives and friends, we had arrived at the destination Julian wanted to take me to. I glanced over. This. On the bright red archway sign, 4 large characters were emblazoned, marriage registration, the clerk's office. This man was insane, completely insane. I stared at him in utter astonishment. He just smiled gently. Then he turned off the car and carried me out. We sat on the waiting bench outside the Count Y's office. They weren't even open yet. He was so eager that he didn't even bother to tidy us up before rushing me here. One arm was wrapped around me, and with his other hand, he held both of mine. I felt his emotions finally settle a bit, and he said, Sophia, it's been 7 years since we broke up. 7 years of missed time. Don't you think that's a very long time? I honestly can't wait another second. If you're willing, let's just get legally married now. Okay? How could I not be willing? My first love had waited 7 years for me, and I had never truly let him go. Now, to finally be with him, why would I not want this? But then I remembered the forceful encounter with his mother years ago. Julian and me? Getting legally married right away? What kind of family did he come from? He was high on the national rich list. How could our marriage be so simple? So I couldn't help but ask, your family. Sophia. He interrupted me. He looked earnestly into my eyes. When 2 adults love each other, want to be together forever, and want to get a certificate to protect that relationship, I don't believe it absolutely requires the elders' permission. They have their own ideas, but you and I are adults. Getting legally married is just between the 2 of us. Of course, your parents. I will go apologize to Sophia's parents myself, no matter how they scold, hit, or punish me, until they agree to let me be their son-in-law. But my family. Julian exhaled deeply. It was just as difficult now as it had been in the past. His gaze held a sharp edge. Sophia, I'm only going to tell you one thing. If you dare to retreat, evade, and abandon me like you did 7 years ago, you're dead. I quickly leaned my head into his embrace to soothe him. I won't run, I won't back down again. I'll listen to everything you say. When the staff at the county's office started work, a few more couples had lined up behind Julian and me. As he skillfully pulled my identification from my handbag, I remembered him furtively rummaging through my bag before we left. He had been checking if my documents were there. We were, of course, the first couple to register our marriage that day. Both of us, having not slept all night, inevitably had big dark circles under our eyes. We should have been listless, but in the official photo with red background for the marriage certificate, we were smiling like a pair of big fools. It was clear we were getting married voluntarily, extremely voluntarily. The official seal stamped onto the corner of the photo, and we each held a copy. When I received my marriage certificate, my hands trembled with excitement, and so did his. I was married, to my first love. He scooped me up in his arms, sweeping me off my feet, and planted a loud kiss on my cheek. Walking out of the county's office, he leaned close to my ear, his breath heavy, and whispered, Sophia. I was too shy to look at him, covering my face with both hands. But my 8 small white teeth couldn't be hidden as I responded, Julian. Having my phone off was truly peaceful. On the way back to the villa, he took me to quickly buy 2 new outfits. The moment we entered, he peeled off my clothes again, this time throwing them all into the trash. Then he carried me to the bathroom for a bath and some playful splashing. Afterward, I changed into new pajamas and lay back on the soft sofa, watching him make a late breakfast for me in the kitchen. Shrimp and egg custard, one of my favorite foods when we were together before. He still remembered. He brought it to the sofa and fed me spoonful by spoonful. Some things were bothersome, but they still needed to be dealt with, to be faced. After washing up and eating something, we both felt much more refreshed. Julian turned on his phone first. Immediately, it was bombarded with calls. He answered. The first call was from a mutual friend of his and Noah's. My God, Julian, you finally turned on your phone. Where are you? You're not really with Sophia, are you? Don't you know, Noah has gone crazy. He's been speeding around looking for you since last night. He searched through over 10 of your residences in this city. Today is Noah's wedding, but neither you nor the bride can be found or contacted. All the groom's guests have arrived, but not a single person from the bride's side has shown up. It's already a trending online topic, saying the heir to the Dawson's wedding, runaway bride. Now everyone online is laughing at the Dawson family, and Noah is speeding towards your Maplewood villa right now. I held my breath, but Julian was calm. I'm here on Maplewood. Let him come. After hanging up, Julian placed the finished dishes on the coffee table, took my hands, and said, Sophia, go get changed. After we see Noah, I'll go with you to your parents' place to explain the situation to Sophia's parents, so they don't worry. I nodded, okay. We had barely changed when Noah was already banging on the front door. Julian pressed the remote button to let him in. Noah was disheveled, with big dark circles under his eyes and bloodshot veins in his tear-filled eyes. The stubble on his chin was dark, making him look less like a young groom and more like a disheveled man whose family had fallen from grace. The moment he entered, the anger on his face looked capable of setting the villa ablaze. He first glared furiously at Julian, then saw me behind Julian. He took several deep, gasping breaths, as if biting back words. Ignoring, he controlled his emotions and spoke softly to me. Sophia, we're getting married today, didn't you forget? Come on, it's not too late. Let's go get married. He reached out to take my hand. Julian slapped his hand away. Noah, without a wedding or a legal marriage, don't just call her that. She's not your wife. Noah roared, isn't this why we're going to have the wedding now? The two men stared each other down, and Julian's expression became me even more serious. I said from behind him, Noah, I agreed to your pre-wedding night of freedom last night, but I didn't agree to still marry you today. I'm sorry, but we both went back to being single last night. I can't marry you. Hearing my refusal, Noah asked Julian, word for word, through gritted teeth, did you touch her last night? Julian calmly retorted, what do you think? Before I could react, Noah threw a punch. Julian stumbled back. You dared to sleep with my wife. Noah roared. Julian protected me with one hand, then, steadying himself, he unceremoniously landed a punch on Noah's face. Noah reeled back, crashing into the shoe rack by the door. Julian turned to retrieve a marriage certificate, grabbed Noah's collar, and forced him to look. You look carefully. Sophia. She is my wife now. Try calling her your wife again. Noah was utterly stunned. He tremblingly reached for the marriage certificate. Looking at the photo of Julian and me, two happy fools unable to hide our smiles, and the incredibly fresh registration date beside it, he seemed to finally find a flaw. He also grabbed Julian's collar. He looked at Julian, then at me, then back at Julian, raging in disbelief. When did you two get together? Have you been seeing each other behind my back all this time? Another punch, he struck Julian's face. Julian, I treated you like my best friend, and you stabbed me in the back like this? You slept with my woman. You steal my fiancé. I haven't even dared to touch her yet. And you dare to take her to get legally married on the day of our wedding. I'm going to kill you. You ungrateful bastard. Who's your woman? She's mine. Mine. The two men started fighting. I had no choice but to took sides, only restraining Noah and not Julian. As the fight progressed, perhaps because I took sides and Noah was indeed getting badly beaten, his cursing and yelling mouth began to sound tearful. You call me a bastard? You're the bastard, Hayes. We were best friends. How could you do this to me? Do you know how much effort I put into chasing her? I chased her for a whole year. I spent tens of millions of dollars and still couldn't win her over. Sob, sob. I knelt for 3 days and nights in my dad's study, endured 3 days of severe family punishment. I was bruised and battered, and only then did my dad agree to our marriage and let me make my own decision. He pointed at me plaintively. That's how she finally believed my sincerity. Sob. She wouldn't let me touch her, saying she wanted to take things slow. Sob, 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 and now it's all just handed to you. Wah. Even though my parents thought she was a bookworm with knowledge, and no benefit to the family business, and they didn't approve of me marrying her. Do you know how proud I was to marry a highly educated and accomplished female scholar, a tall, beautiful PhD research scientist? Sob. I'd always been so proud in front of my friends. They were all so envious of me, much better than those who only marry wealthy socialites for strategic alliances, who just shop and get cosmetic surgery. Sob. Why did you take her from me? Aren't you in love with that spirited ex-girlfriend who abandoned you? Go find your first love. Don't steal my fiancé, Julian. Give her back to me. Give her back. Sob. The fight couldn't continue. Noah had completely cried his eyes out. He lay on the floor, throwing a tantrum. Perhaps I still didn't understand Noah well enough. I truly hadn't expected to see this side of him. Thinking about his passionate pursuit of me for a whole year, it really did bring a lot of sunshine into my monotonous research life. Honestly, I was moved by him. Many times, I no longer thought of Julian's name. I thought I could finally let go of that distant first love. Perhaps I should cherish the second fervent love in my life. If I missed this one too, I might truly end up alone. But I still didn't love Noah, this wealthy young heir, Inu. Nor did I have the energy for a casual relationship. Yet, I genuinely wanted to try with him. Seriously, with marriage in mind. So one day, when he again waited for me outside the National Institute after work, I asked him, "Are you serious about me, or just playing around? You know I'm very busy with research every day. I really don't have time for casual relationships. So, if I say yes, will we get married?" He probably misunderstood, thinking I wanted to marry him immediately. After taking me to my apartment, he swore to me, "Give me 3 days, and I'll give you a definite answer. Wait for me." And so, he knelt for 3 days and nights in his father's study, enduring severe family punishment, just to plead with his father about marrying me. When he returned to me, his bones aching and his body bruised from his father's beating, he smiled and said, "My parents have agreed to our marriage. If you're willing, we can get married right away. Sophia, I've practically given half my life for this. You can't refuse me anymore." Seeing him like that, how could I possibly refuse? All I could do was nod and agree. Jumping straight to marriage, the pace might truly have been too fast, and I felt quite unsettled. So, when he first suggested staying overnight at my place, I refused. Later, when an opportune moment arose and he suggested I stay overnight at his place, I refused again. After that, he never brought up such requests again, only pushing for us to get married as soon as possible. "Don't worry about that, I'm not in a hurry. We'll be married soon, let's save that beautiful moment for our wedding night." Thinking about it, it actually makes him even more excited. It wasn't until his childhood sweetheart, Lily, found out Noah and I were getting married soon and caused a scene with me that I learned he had actually been seeing Lily before. He had fallen for someone else, first breaking up with his childhood sweetheart, then brazenly pursuing me. I didn't think there was a big problem with that. He fell in love with me, stopped loving his childhood sweetheart, broke up with her, and then pursued me and got together with me. Process was correct. So I didn't pay too much attention to him and Lily, even though Lily often appeared in front of him. When did things start to go wrong? After he met my parents, after both sets of parents officially met because their children were getting married. My parents were both working-class people. They weren't highly educated and hadn't seen much of the world. In front of an elite family like the Hayes family, with hundreds of millions in assets, they inevitably looked out of place and spoke timidly. Their calloused hands were even hesitant to shake hands with their in-laws. They poured everything they had, even their entire fortune, but couldn't come up with a decent dowry for me. I gradually noticed a change in Noah's attitude towards me. He had always been deferential towards me, going to great lengths to win my affection. But unconsciously, his attitude became arrogant and superior. I was no longer the same person I was 7 years ago, so I hadn't paid too much attention. I didn't feel unworthy of Noah, the wealthy young heir from the Dawson family who idled around all day. Of course, as long as he truly loved me and was loyal to our relationship, and their family had endless money, a little idleness was perfectly fine. No one dictates that a person must strive for something in life. But when it came to being a match, I was a distinguished PhD research scientist from the National Institute, a highly educated and accomplished female scholar. I was destined to contribute to society and the well-being of the people. with a future that was limitless. How could I not be a match for an illiterate rich heir who was born with a silver spoon, barely literate, whose diplomas and certificates were all bought with money, and who was wasteful and extravagant all day? Who was really worthy of whom? If he truly looked down on me, I looked down on him even more. I thought he understood the balance between our knowledge and his wealth. To my surprise, after he saw my very ordinary family background, he actually thought I was truly marrying above my station, and that meeting him was a huge stroke of luck for me. He expected me to be more humble towards him, try harder to hold on to him, and please him. He even started flirting with his childhood sweetheart, whose feelings for him clearly hadn't faded. Because of Julian's reappearance, I was indeed a bit flustered. Before I even had a chance to enlighten him, our wedding date was already upon us. The night before the wedding, his actions and words made me see clearly that he wasn't worthy of me. He wasn't worthy of me. It also gave me the courage to try and reclaim that distant love, which had never left the softest part of my heart. That first love. Seeing crying and throwing a tantrum on the floor, Julian seemed unfazed. He probably understood Noah better than I did. They truly had grown up together like brothers. It was just that in our younger days, Julian and I had a secret relationship, and he never took me to meet his friends or family. It wasn't until he returned home a while ago that the three of us realized each other's existence and our past entanglements. Back then, Julian always used to tell me, "Sophia, give me some time. My feelings for you are absolutely genuine, it's just that my family. I don't have a voice in my family right now. Can you give me some time and wait for me, please?" I nodded seriously. Okay. I believed him. He was a big boy whose diving skills were only average, yet he risked his life multiple times to dive into the deep sea for me, searching for 108 rare pearls. That was my birthday number. He used these pearls to create a set of precious and magnificent jewelry, which he brought to me as a birthday gift. He deserved my complete trust. I knew he came from a wealthy family, probably with some background. But I didn't know his family's wealth was so exaggerated, or their background so powerful. Until I was walking down the street and was forcibly pulled into a car by several men in black, then taken to a quiet private room. Inside sat a distinguished lady. After she expressed her intentions, she pushed $1 million check towards me. I felt so ashamed, I didn't even have the courage to look up at her, but I wouldn't take the money. So I gently pushed it back. I heard her faint scoff. The young lady has quite an appetite. Then the $1 million check turned into $10 million and was pushed back in front of me. Her tone was very light, even gentle. "If that's not enough, I can add more. For our family, this is just 1 or 2 months of allowance. But you must break up with my son, and permanently leave his life. He has a fiancé, didn't he tell you? They will get married right after graduation. His fiancé's family fortune is no less than $10 billion. What do you have?" At that moment, all of my perceptions of life, my values, completely collapsed. Forget the number billion, just that $10 million check she offered me. It was what ordinary people couldn't earn in several lifetimes. And my boyfriend, Eleanor's son Julian, just used it to casually dismiss his girlfriend from a humble background. My parents' combined monthly income was less than $2,000, and I was just an ordinary student from such a family. Every number she uttered was terrifying. I felt like a commoner dreaming of a prince. This was no longer a question of whether we loved each other, but that I truly wasn't worthy of him. We were worlds apart. A person shouldn't lack self-awareness. I fled in dismay, agreeing to all her demands. I didn't even take the money. That amount truly terrified me at that moment. Later, Julian didn't marry the so-called fiancé. For some reason, his family sent him directly abroad. They used their connections to restrict his entry and prevent his return to the country. This restriction lasted for 6 years. And during that time, I studied desperately, took graduate entrance exams, and pursued a combined master's and doctoral program. I couldn't allow myself to stop for a second. I felt so inferior to my very core. I was a commoner, yet I dared to deeply love the prince who lived in the heavenly palace. I worked hard, trying to make myself, this little frog in the mud, at least not look so ugly and detestable. Then, with age, maturity of mind, and continuous improvement in education, this gradually restored my confidence and made me understand something. Whether it was facing Julian or later Noah, I didn't need to feel inferior, nor did I need to debase myself. Because love is equal. He loved me, wanted to be with me forever. I loved him, wanted to be with him forever. That was all. If any obstacles arose during the process, we would face them together. This was the most correct and best way to deal with it. Julian rolled up his sleeves and kicked Noah's backside twice. Why didn't you cherish her after all that effort chasing her? Why didn't you cherish her once you caught her, you arrogant idiot? Your wedding was practically here, and the night before, you wanted to fool around with your ex-girlfriend. You deserved to have your wife stolen from you. Noah sat up from the floor, wiped away a tear, and retorted, was I doing it on purpose? Lily and I have been childhood sweethearts. How could I not have any feelings for her? I was just confused for a moment. I was drunk and acted foolishly to suggest that nonsense. Boo-hoo-hoo. Julian. Even so, can you just steal your best friend's fiancé? Doesn't your conscience bother you? I'm telling you. From today on, we're sworn enemies. I'm holding this grudge against you. Julian ran a hand through his messy hair and sighed, sworn. Enemies? Are you saying the Dawson family doesn't want the multi-billion-dollar coastal project anymore? You should know that I'm in charge of that project now, right? If I kick the Dawson family out and let that project fall through for you all, do you think your dad, with his hot temper, would be so angry he'd break your legs? Noah clenched his fists tightly. Are you threatening me? Julian's tone was light. Yeah, I'm threatening you. What are you going to do about it? Noah glared at Julian, too angry to speak a word. Julian reached out and pulled me into his arms, then kicked Noah's knee with his foot. If you give in, call Sophia. From now on, when you see Sophia, treat her with respect and keep your distance, at least 10 paces away. Noah's eyes were bloodshot. He gritted his teeth, staring at Julian for a full minute. He suddenly buried his face in his hands and started crying loudly again. Should I comfort him appropriately? I tried to manage a smile but truly didn't know what to say. So I asked Julian for help. What should we do? Julian, without another word, grabbed Noah's feet and dragged him out the door. Sophia and I just got legally married this morning and are enjoying our time together. Why are you here being a third wheel? Get out. Go back and dismiss the guests, suppress the trending topic, and explain things to your parents. Tell them I'll visit their home to apologize in a few days. Noah's crying became even more pitiful. Boo-hoo-hoo, you devil. Julian, I'll never forgive you. You beast, you scoundrel. You're toying with your best friend like he's a mere plaything. Why did I ever know you? Noah was finally thrown out the front door by Julian. Stop wailing. Let me correct you. I didn't steal your fiancé. You were the one who tried to steal my fiancé and didn't cherish her properly. I'm just taking her back. Noah stood up and grumbled twice. What do you mean? Julian took my hand. Let me reintroduce you. Sophia, my first love, the reason I was restricted from returning home from abroad for 6 years. The reason I drank to drown my sorrows, suffered alcohol poisoning and was rushed to the hospital multiple times, and the reason you came to visit me abroad. The name I never dared to mention to you, fearing you'd bother her behind my back, fearing my mother would continue to trouble her. This person right in front of you, Sophia, is the only woman I, Julian, will ever love in this life. And now, she's my wife. So from now on, you'd better put away any feelings you have for her. Don't harbor any improper thoughts. You know I am the sole heir of the Hayes family and will gradually assume full control. I truly don't want to completely wipe out my best friend, who I grew up with, and your Dawson family. 5 years later. It was Daisy, Julian, and my daughter's 2nd birthday. The birthday party was held at the Hayes. Before the banquet began, her grandma held her in her arms with a doting look. She placed a crown worth $200 million on Daisy's head. Our little princess of the Hayes family was born to enjoy life. Grandma's precious Daisy, happy. Grandma loves you. Daisy hugged her grandma. Thank you, Grandma. Grandma, I love you too. A moment later, her grandma glanced a few steps away, where Julian was kneeling on the floor, gently and carefully adjusting my shoes and socks. Her expression soured. She pulled out a property deed and said to Daisy, Grandma hasn't been feeling well lately. I get dizzy whenever I see water. It's quite bothersome. This estate spans tens of thousands of square meters, and half of it is built with water features. It's been in my name for so many years, and I don't want it at all anymore. But your daddy loves diving and playing in the water so much. My grandson, our little prince of the Hayes family, will surely love it too. She disdainfully stuffed the property deed into Daisy's hand. Go on, take it. Give it to Yo. You are mommy, and let her take you and your little brother to play there. The location and environment of this estate were excellent. It was said to have cost nearly $20 billion when purchased, and it was her grandma's most valuable dowry. Daisy's innocent voice asked, My little brother? Where is he? Seeing my mother-in-law still pretending to be at odds with me, Julian and I exchanged a helpless smile. He pulled Daisy into his arms and playfully flicked her little nose. He placed her little hand on my belly, right here. Perhaps because I didn't accept the $10 million she offered 7 years ago, she started to see me in a different light. It might also be because my status was now different from before, having become a pillar of the nation at the National Institute. And in the second year after marriage, I had already made significant contributions to society. Julian's parents' opposition to our marriage was not as strong as I had imagined. Now, they were slowly entering a stage of family harmony. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.